Good evening, all. Second day of virtual meeting, we welcome you to this GST series. I, CM Renalgar from Yamunanagar, practicing as a chartered accountant in my twin city, welcome you all to this webinar. I welcome all the three chairmen of, first of all, CA Amit Goyal, Chairman, Sonepat branch. Sir, welcome you. CA Sumit Jetli ji, branch. CA Anuj Jindal ji, Chairman, Yamunanagar branch. I would like to specially make thankful to Sonepat branch for taking this lead and holding this virtual meeting in joint with Amritsar branch as well as Yamunanagar branch. Sir, today we have, as you all know, that we have with us Dr. Avinash Poddar, advocate, as the speaker for today. He will be guiding us on fake invoices, section 73, section 74 under the GST. Let me give a brief introduction of sir. While he forwarded his profile, and after seeing his profile of the 5 pages, I was that full lecture will take him to read out his profile. So meanwhile, cut shorting, I would like to mention few of his achievements. Sir is currently practicing as an advocate in the field of indirect taxes, commercial laws, and cybercrime. He is having experience of more than 21 years of profession, 17 years as a chartered accountant, and then as an advocate. He is currently appearing and arguing before the Honorable Supreme Courts, various high courts, special courts, and tribunals. He is author of various books on GST and indirect taxes. When we talk about his educational qualifications, he is a Bachelor of Commerce, BCom, Bachelor of Law, LLB, Chartered Accountant, Masters of Law from Jindal Global Law School. He has achieved Directorate of Philosophy, PhD in GST, Postgraduate Certificate in Cybercrime, Diploma in Information System Audit, Certified Financial Planner, Microsoft Certified Professional, passed Online Proficiency Self-Assessment Test for Independent Directors Database. He has been practicing in the field of indirect taxations, corporate laws, RERA, IBC, and cybercrime. He has been a special invitee of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Committee of ICAI for the year 21-22. He has been special invitee of GST and Indirect Tax Committee of ICAI for the year 1920 and 18-19. He has been special invitee of Indirect Tax Committee of PhD Chamber of Commerce, Delhi for the year 21-22, from 18-19 to 21-22. He is a member of Indirect Tax Committee of Western Regional Council of ICAI from 17-18 to 22-23. He is a member and co-chairman of GST and Indirect Tax Committee of Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industries from 17-18 to 21-22. Members of Indirect Tax Committee of Ahmedabad and Surat branch of WIRC of ICAI for 17-18 and 18-19. He is the Vice Chairman of Excise and Service Tax Committee of South Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industries. He has delivered more than 900 lectures over the India at various residential, regional, and national conferences of ICAI, ICSI, ICWAI, live webcast, PhD Chamber of Commerce, Delhi, Cradle, IIT Bombay, VNSD University, Oro University, ASSOCHAM, and various other institutions. He was also invited as a speaker in eSummit 2018 organized by IIT Bombay. He has been author of various books published between June 2022 to December 2022. To mention few are Master Guide to GST Act, Master Guide to GST Rules, Landmark Judgments under GST 360-degree Analysis, Appeals and Litigation in Indirect Taxes, Anatomy of Fake and Bogus Invoice and Arrest under GST, Digest on Landmark Judgments under GST, Principle of Statutory Interpretation and Important Legal Maxims, GST. He has released various books as a co-author, Audit and Annual Return in GST, Appeals and Litigation in GST and Customs, GST Saral Samjhauti in Gujarati, GST Concept of Layman published by Crossword Bookstores Limited, EIRC Background Material for GST published and released by EIRC of ICAI. Besides this, he has authored a motivational book titled Unleash Your Hidden Potential, released internationally in June 2017. He has achieved various recognitions and awards. He is a winner of prestigious TIOL Gold Award in TIOL 2021 awards in the category of facilitators and intermediaries. He is a winner of Gujarat Number Dikaro awarded by Page 3 Magazine Surat. Prestigious recognition as Gem of CA Profession by Ahmedabad branch of WIRC of ICAI. Prestigious recognition for contribution as a chartered accountant by the Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industries. He has written various articles for various newsletters and online portals such as Tax India Online, GST Club, CCH Tax Online on regular basis. He is a member of various professional bodies like Bar Council of Gujarat, Tax Advocates and Association Ahmedabad, All India Federation of Tax Practitioners, Bombay Chartered Accountants Society, and etc. His contribution to the societies and others are: he is a president of Agarwal Professionals Association, Surat, patron trustee of Agarwal Pragati Trust, Surat, past convener of Anuvarat Dwar, Surat CPE Study Circle, manages portal gstclub.in. A fortnightly newsletter is issued with updates, case laws, and articles in the name of Avinash, Poddar, commute, promoter of Tarun Group, associated for social activities as active members, Lion Club, serve the society, districts, etc. In his experience of over more than 21 years in the profession, he has served as a chartered accountant till 2017, from 2000 to 2017, and after that he has started upon as a new journey to the advocate. Sir, on behalf of all the three branches and our NIRC member present over here, CA Jagjit Singh ji, I welcome you all. I welcome you to this webinar and thank you for taking out your valuable time for guiding our members. Now, I request CA Sumit Jetli ji to address the guest speaker and request him to start the session. Over to you, Sumit ji.
Thank you, CA Minal ji. A very good evening to all. I, along with all my team members, extend a very warm welcome to our guest speaker, senior and young members, C. Amit Kumar ji, Chairman of Sonepat branch, C. Anuj Jindal ji, Chairman of Yamunanagar branch. Today, we are having a second webinar of this 4-day series on the topic Fake Invoices, Section 73 and 74 under GST, which will be undertaken by a very learned member of our profession, CA, Dr. Avinash Poddar ji. Respected sir, we are truly honored by your presence here. We also thank you on behalf of other guests who were thrilled to have you as a company and exchange a few words with you. I cannot thank you enough for gracing our webinar, inaugurating all our spirits. I believe all the members who will be joining this webinar will surely be benefited with the profound knowledge of our eminent speaker today. I would like to thank C. Amit Goyal ji for their time and efforts in making this series a reality. At last, I just want to say that life is more than a trade and careers. Life is full of colors, wishes, love, and ambition. And we should also strive to be a better than yesterday and believe we can change our situations and life for a better if we try for more. With this positive note, I would like to welcome CA Dr. Avinash Poddar ji to please proceed with the today's session.
Thank you so much, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
At the outset, I would like to thank all the three branches, Sumit ji from Amritsar branch, Amit Kumar ji from Sonepat, and Anuj Jindal ji for Yamunanagar branch. And I had the privilege of meeting Jagjit ji very recently at Delhi. So I would be thankful and grateful to him also. And last but not the least, to Mrinal ji for giving the wonderful introduction. First and foremost, I would like to tender my apology because I'm not well. My throat is not well. It got affected yesterday, although I'm taking medicines, but still the time which is allotted to me is 4 to 6, and I'll try to deliberate, touch upon the topic, and also most favorite aspect of mine is that I wanted to have a dialogue, a two-way discussion, so that I request all the participants to raise their queries as much as possible. I'll try to conclude within around 70-75 minutes so that we have ample of time to discuss the practical issues and practical queries which the participants are having. Since the question is, or the issue is fake invoice, the topic which is given to me is fake invoice and 73-74. Fake invoice in itself is very thrilling because entire India is now struggling with this concept of fake invoice. Whether those fake invoices are really fake invoices or not, that we need to ponder upon and need to decide, because every credit cannot be said to be availed on account of a fake invoice, which unfortunately the department is doing. And I would also like to take permission from the entire management committee and the organizers to allow me to use both the language English and Hindi mix so that I can reach more close to all the participants. Am I allowed to do so?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
So we'll start with fake invoices first. There is a comment of Vijay Kumarji who has joined from Madurai. Please English. Yes, I'll try to be 90% in English. Fake invoice, the term suggests that an invoice which really is not an invoice or is not a document which is not to be considered as an invoice. I'm just drawing an analogy from there because most of us might have attended various sessions, have read books, have tried to understand what is fake invoice. But my limited understanding says that if an invoice is issued, which is in line with, I'm repeating, if an invoice is issued, which is in line with the provisions of the GST law, that is section 30, 31, all those provisions, if it is in line with those provisions, then by no stretch of imagination that can be said to be a fake invoice. But yes, there can be a planning by a fraudster wherein he can use some other person's GST number and issue an invoice which is absolutely in accordance with the provisions of the law. Rule 46 of the CGST rules, which is in accordance with Rule 46. Even in that case, the invoice per se cannot be said to be a fake. So the point which I'm trying to raise, and this is the only understanding which I have, that you need to first understand whether this is an invoice which is issued by the person who has a valid GST number or not. If the person is having a valid GST number and he has issued an invoice which is in accordance with Rule 46 read with section, then by no stretch of imagination it can be said to be a fake invoice. It cannot be a fake invoice. Yes, it can be a case wherein only the invoice is issued, but the goods are not moved, or there is no movement of goods. But the terminology of fake invoice needs to be understood, and that is my topic. So therefore, I am pondering upon that. That my limited understanding, maybe I'm wrong, but my limited understanding says that fake invoice cannot be an invoice which is otherwise valid in accordance with the provisions of the Act. If it is a valid invoice in accordance with the provisions of the Act, it can never fall into the category of fake invoice. Yes, you can deny my input tax credit on the basis of the provisions of section 16(2), but you cannot say that you are indulged into fake invoice. I can very well understand the department's allegation, because every now and then we are understanding and we are getting one feeling from the department. The context with which I met Jagjit ji is also somewhat pertaining to this, although it is not a fake invoice, but something which is pertaining to an allegation by the department with no base. So department alleges that you have availed a credit. I'll give you an example so that you can understand it well. You might have, and I'm sure many of us might have come across this issue. Now, department is alleging in 2021, while conducting audit or maybe scrutiny of returns or any other further actions, department is saying that, look, Avinash, you have procured goods. You are showing that you have procured goods or services from these 20 suppliers. Now, out of these 20 suppliers, there are 5 suppliers whose registrations are already cancelled. And that too suo motu by the department from retrospective date. And therefore, we have the reason to believe that these are the fake invoices. Now, can you cover under the fake invoice? My apparent answer and clear answer would be no, it is not a fake invoice. It has been an invoice. It has been a genuine transaction. Now, there can be 2 arguments. One, I would say that, look, from 2000, it is a purchase of 2017 or 18, let's say. Now in 2022, you are coming and you are saying that the registration is cancelled retrospectively and therefore it is not a valid invoice. When I procured the goods or services, at that point in time, the registration was valid. It was genuine. It was being reflected in my GST at 2A, 2B, whatsoever form is there. I have made the payments to him. I have all the records pertaining to the receipt of goods. Then on what basis you are contending or commenting that I have not received the goods? Merely on the basis that the registration was cancelled of my supplier from the retrospective date, you cannot say that the registration was cancelled and therefore the invoices are fake. Sir, the first argument of mine would be, I procured in 2018, today is 2022. 2 years were very, very tough for us, COVID years. There are situations, there are chances that my supplier might have closed the business and his registration is cancelled, or maybe because of any other reason you might have cancelled his registration. That does not mean that the invoices were fake. This is one. The second argument can be, from the department's perspective, since we have cancelled it retrospectively, we have taken care of this argument. And therefore, from day one, he was never existent. Sir, my argument would be, if he was not existent, how he has filed his returns, how he has generated the invoices, and what you were doing when he was filing the returns or generating the e-way bills. Now, since there is no trace of any non-movement of goods, the allegation will not fall upon me, and therefore it cannot be the allegation that I was indulged into fake invoice. But yes, I certainly agree. The department can certainly argue from the credit point of view. The department can certainly say, no, Avinash, you have not received the goods. They will not say that his registration is cancelled or whatsoever, because that argument will fall upon them. Because I will cross argue that these are the documents which I have received. This is what I have maintained. Everything is there. So on what basis you are saying merely on the registration cancellation? The answer is no, I will deny. But the second line of argument of the department can be that under section 16.2, there are few conditions which are stipulated and you need to fulfill those conditions so as to become entitled to claim the input tax credit. And one of those conditions is that you must have received the goods or services. Therefore, since that person was not in existence, we are alleging that you have never received the goods or services. That can be the argument. But the cancellation of registration cannot be an argument for the fake invoice. I hope I am clear with this. So my understanding is fake invoice is when Avinash raises an invoice, uses the registration number of Shri Amit Kumar. When this is done, it becomes a fake invoice. But when Avinash himself is registered and he is issuing an invoice which is absolutely in accordance with the provisions of the law, that invoice per se is not a fake invoice. This has to be understood very clearly, and therefore I always say, wherever I take the opportunity of deliberating, I always say that please bear in mind, ये जितने cases हो रहे हैं अभी, कोई भी case court of law में sustain नहीं होने वाला है. Maybe at the level of the High Court, the appellate level may not understand this. The first appellate level we cannot expect because these are the departmental officers. But second appellate authority, tribunal, they may appreciate. But since they are the fact-finding authority, they also may not go into the legalities. But from High Court, we'll certainly get a favorable order, which may be challenged in the Supreme Court, and again we'll get a favorable order. There are n number of past precedences which are available, wherein the Honorable Court has said that merely the allegation will not survive. You'll have to establish on records that there was some connivance between the supplier and the recipient. अगर वो मिल के काम नहीं कर रहे, connive नहीं कर रहे हैं, और मैं bona fide purchaser हूँ, then you cannot deny my credit merely on the basis that you have written in law. Even that law is challenged before the various high courts. Unfortunately, friends, before Gujarat High Court, the matter was heard and the honorable bench was very comfortable to read it down in case of the favorable, in case of the bona fide purchasers, that if I am a bona fide purchaser, मुझे बताया ही नहीं, किसी ने बताया नहीं कि भैया मैं रजिस्टर्ड नहीं हूँ या मैं किसी दूसरे का इनवॉइस भेज रहा हूँ या ऐसा कुछ गलत काम कर रहा हूँ. आई वॉज अ bona fide purchaser. मैं एक और एग्जांपल देता हूँ, आपके पंजाब में बहुत है, मैंने कुछ केसेस पंजाब एंड हरियाणा हाई कोर्ट में किए हैं. दैट इज पर्टेनिंग टू स्क्रैप एंड मेटल्स. पूरा आपका एक लोकेशन है जहाँ पे उसके मेजॉरिटी ट्रेडर्स हैं. वहाँ सर क्या होता है, आई एम हैविंग अ ब्रोकर. थ्रू दैट ब्रोकर ही इज मेकिंग मी हिज वेंडर सप्लाई स्क्रैप और कॉपर और व्हाटसएवर. सो आई एम कॉलिंग माई ब्रोकर, लुक आई वांट दिस मेनी टन्स ऑफ दिस स्क्रैप. वो मेरे को स्क्रैप भेज देता है. आई रिसीव स्क्रैप. अलॉन्ग विद दैट scrap, I also receive the invoice. I, on the basis of my bona fide belief that this is the material which I am receiving against these invoices and the challans, I make the payment also on this invoice. I take the credit. Now department tomorrow alleges, look Avinash, you have received the invoice from Mr. X, but he is not an existent person. He cannot supply goods to you. So your credit needs to be disallowed. Now they cannot do it because I am a bona fide purchaser. So therefore the court has agreed. Even in LGW Industries in Calcutta High Court, the High Court single member bench judgment already said, go and check whether there is connivance or not. If there is no connivance, then go and recover from the supplier, not from the recipient. You cannot recover in the mode of reversal of the credit. That has been stated. Unfortunately, Gujarat High Court was also very clear, but now it was not decided and the matter was parted. But now the Honorable Justice has been elevated. Justice Pardiwala has been elevated to the Supreme Court. So now nothing can be done. We'll have to again argue it. So my humble question is, the suggestion is, you go into the terminology fake invoice. Don't go with what the people are saying. So fake invoice, as per my limited understanding, is non-existent invoice. A document, a piece of paper which has no legal validity. That means issuer is someone else, the number is of someone else, या number है ही नहीं, existent ही नहीं है, वो कुछ फर्जी number ही डाल दिया है. If that is the case, I think Amit Kumar ji, Sangam ji शायद enter हुए हैं. You want to welcome him? I have just observed. If I can enter.
Welcome, Sangam sir.
Thank you, Amit ji, thank you so much. And Avinash sir, thank you so much, sir.
Welcome, thank you, sir.
Acknowledge sir in between the seminar, and
Yeah,
really
Sangam
I
bhai.
appreciate sir for taking seminar with our branches, sir. It is really proud moment for all of us that Avinash ji is with us, and he is a really very good speaker, and it's always our pleasure to listen him. And हिंदी में कहावत है कि इनका लोहा तो पूरा हिंदुस्तान मानता है अविनाश जी का, तो रियली हम सबके लिए प्लेजर है.
Very true, very true.
GST के टॉपिक के ऊपर।
Thank you so much, sir. A
Yes,
good,
sir.
maybe a good speaker with a very bad throat. Anyway,
It's happened
Welcome
sometimes,
Sangam bhai.
sir.
Welcome Sangam bhai.
Thank you, Jai ji. Thank you so much, ji. Thank you, ji. Sir,
shall I?
please carry on, sir. I will not take you much time, sir. Please carry on, sir.
Sure, sure. Thank you. So, my only submission is that whenever the department alleges fake invoice, that you are indulged into fake invoice, the very clear answer should be that the document on which the credit has been availed, or forget about the credit, the invoice which is alleged to be a fake invoice is a legally valid invoice. See, what are the ingredients of a valid invoice? Name of the supplier, name of the recipient, the GST number of the supplier, the GST number of the recipient, and the goods which are supplied, the rate which is applicable to them, the tax which has been imposed on that. If all these ingredients are there, and the transportation details, if every of these documents, that means transportation details, by this I mean e-way bill number also, and the other details which are pertaining and which are mandatory. If these documents and the details are there on that particular invoice, this invoice cannot be termed to be a fake invoice. So therefore, very happily accept the allegation of the department, accept the show cause notice. This is my suggestion. And then finally at the High Court level, you are going to win, because this was never a fake invoice. And once they allege that it is a fake invoice, I have found that they will not allege 16.2 or the other conditions. Let it be, that is in our favor. So my limited understanding, again, I would reiterate, because this is the only thing which I believe so far as fake invoice is concerned. If it is a legally tendered document in compliance with the provisions of the GST law, all the ingredients of that particular law is complied with, the issuer and the recipient both are the genuine taxpayers and the registered persons, it can never be a fake invoice. Yes, there can be allegation of non-movement of goods, the supplier not making the payment of tax, therefore the credit should be disallowed. That is acceptable. Let me give another example also. Very recently, I am arguing one of the cases in Honorable Gujarat High Court. What they are doing is they are cancelling the registrations merely on this allegation. I have already covered this, but this cancellation merely on the allegation that your supplier does not exist is okay. I can understand, I can appreciate, but if they say that you are indulged into the fake invoice racket and therefore you should be behind the bars, you should be arrested, blah, 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 I will not agree to this, because I have received a genuine invoice. So again, I will reiterate, please bear in mind, fake invoice is not an invoice which is in accordance with law. If it is in accordance with law, it is not a fake invoice. Very clear. Now, what kind of proceedings the department may have? So before delving into 73 and 74, I would like to just give a background of this. Sir, please appreciate, only allegation does not survive, and it is not sufficient also. The department may come to our premise and say, Avinash, you have done a business of 100 crores. You have procured goods or services worth, let's say, 90 crores. We allege that, Avinash, you are indulged into the fake bogus invoicing racket. Then obviously my question would be, sir, on what basis you are saying this? You will say that the e-way bill number mentioned on so and so invoice, the vehicle number which is mentioned does not belong to a truck. It belongs to a two-wheeler, a scooter. So obviously I will answer that, sir, it can be an inadvertent mistake also. 6869 की जगह मैंने 6866 लिख दिया. It does not mean that there is a mala fide intention. So obviously, being the officer of the department, a revenue guy, he will not agree to this. So his next step would be to convert this allegation. Please bear in mind and please be with me for next 3 to 4 minutes so that you can understand that how this fake invoice is going to convert into 73-74 proceedings. So his next step would be to convert to his allegations into the investigation. He will issue a summons to me. He will issue summons to various persons who are linked with me, who are supplying goods to me, who are my recipient or whatsoever, so on and so forth. They have all the limits. They can do anything and everything. We are always having a limited diameter. उसके beyond हम नहीं जा सकते, नहीं तो courts हमको बोलती हैं कि आप ये नहीं कर सकते. But department can do anything, unfortunately. But let us forget that. Important is they will investigate, inquire, collect the evidences, documents and records for the purpose of substantiating the allegations which they are making against us. I hope I'm very clear. This is the next step which every officer is bound to follow. So while alleging, sir, allegation तो कुछ भी हो सकता है. मैं जगजीत जी को कुछ भी बोल सकता हूँ अभी, मोदी जी को भी हम कुछ भी बोल सकते हैं. But allegation, when substantiated with the evidence, that becomes difficult for a person to defend with. But generally we'll find that all those allegations are baseless with no supporting evidences. What they will say, Avinash, you have procured goods from A, B, C, D. Out of this A, B, C, D, A and B registrations are cancelled. I have inquired from his Padosi. So they have said A and B were never existent. They were never doing any business. So that will be the basis of their show cause notice, or the allegation gets converted into the show cause notice, and the substantial evidence would be the statement of that Padosi, that neighbor of mine, Mr. A. Now please appreciate, practically I am fighting one of the cases. Sir, I have given an example of a scrap sale. In a scrap sale, 99.9% you will find bill to ship to. He will never receive in his godown or his office. He will always say, भाई एक ट्रक C से खरीद को A को बेच दीजिए आप. And then he will direct कि A की जगह आप deliver अविनाश को कर दीजिए. So it will be billed to someone else and shipped to me. And then A will in turn ship to me, bill to me. That is the normal procedure which we have. So for that, my supplier A does not require any place, any go down, something like that. Only a location, only a small office also. So वो office के अंदर काम कर रहा है तो never a neighbor will come to know what business he is doing. He will always say कि यहाँ तो कुछ काम होता ही नहीं है. Generally this office is not working. But does it mean that my purchases are bogus? It is sham purchase or a fake purchase? The answer is absolutely no. So therefore now please be with me and try to understand the point which I am saying, because then I'll go with 73 and 74. Sir, show cause notice, as I've already said, it is an action of the departmental officer substantiating his allegations, which culminates into a show cause notice. This is a show cause notice. कि वो पहले चार आपके allegations लगा रहा है, चारों allegations को support करने के लिए किसी में statement ले लिया, किसी में कोई document ले लिया, and he is substantiating his allegations on the basis of that, and then he issues a show cause notice. So therefore the important aspect is that, although that is not my topic today, how to deal with show cause notice or tackle with show cause notice, but this is something which is very important. We need to understand. There is always, I'm sorry to say this, but this is what I have experienced being a chartered accountant and a lawyer. There is always an understanding between, or rather I would say, an action which a chartered accountancy takes. As soon as I as a chartered accountant was receiving a notice or a summon or anything, my inclination was to focus on the compliance of that particular notice. Because हमने यही सुना है सर कि कोई समन कोई नोटिस है ना, उसको इग्नोर नहीं कर सकते. We should not avoid. We should always follow, honor that. So therefore, as a chartered accountant, when I was practicing till 2017, I used to do this. Every time, as soon as I will receive a notice, income tax का आया, GST का, service tax का आया, I was very honest. immediately honoring that. But when I became lawyer, I inculcated a habit which every CA should have, that as soon as we receive a show cause notice, first and foremost, we should see whether this show cause notice has all the relied upon documents supplied along with the show cause notice or not. I'm repeating this once again. Sir, they are saying, Avinash, the allegation under you against you is that you have procured goods from A and B, which I've the example which I've given earlier. These A and B's registrations are cancelled. We have taken a statement of neighbor of A and B. All those neighbors have said that this A and B have never done any business from this place. We have never seen them doing any business. And therefore, we have the reasons to believe that the purchases which you are showing in your books of accounts were never ever purchased. It was merely a sham transaction, a book transaction. You have procured invoice and you have availed the credit. The goods have never moved. This is show cause notice. Sir, the first action that we should take after receiving this show cause notice is to see whether all those relied upon documents are there as an annexure to the show cause notice or not. Sir, nahi dete wo. Generally, department is very smartly avoiding it. They will mention relied upon documents. They will mention relied upon में जो आप ही के यहाँ से places में से लिए होंगे ना, आप ही के bank accounts, आपकी documents, they will place all those documents on records. But they will never ever place but they will never ever place these statements. Most of the time they will avoid the statements on which they are replying. Sir, please have a copy of those statements. आप लिखें उस officer को कि sir, we are in receipt of this show cause notice. You have relied upon on these documents. I have not received these statements on which you have relied upon of, let's say, neighbor of Mr. A. As soon as you receive it, then the second action should be, as per my limited understanding, should be the cross-examination of the neighbor of Mr. X. सर अपन मूवीज में देखते हैं ना, वो अदालत करके एक सीरीज आता था, उसमें भी देखते हैं. As soon as we'll cross-examine, the neighbor of Mr. A will say, sir मेरे से तो कुछ पूछा ही नहीं, मेरे से तो इतना ही पूछा, ये बिजनेस नहीं करते ना. मैंने कहा नहीं करते हैं, लिख देते हैं. He has written on his own only. So immediately his statement will be nullified. So first is, as soon as we receive a show cause notice, we need to go into whether all the relevant and relied upon documents have been there or not. Number one. Number two, if those relied upon documents are there, then whether all are or some are missing. If everything is there, presume kar lete, then whether cross-examination is required or not. This is one aspect of dealing into it. Second aspect, immediately on receipt of the show cause notice, check the time barring, whether it is issued within the time limit permitted in 73 or 74. We'll touch upon that in some minutes. Check whether it is issued under the provisions of the Act. If yes, which provision of the Act, 73 or 74. Check whether it is issued within the monetary limits of the officer or not, because there is a monetary limit. Let's say DC AC का 10 लाख का limit है, तो अभी DC ने 1 करोड़ का show cause issue किया, तो that has to be quashed. That show cause notice will not survive. Check that jurisdiction of that officer, whether he is eligible to issue monetarily or not. He is the jurisdictional officer or not. What I mean to say is, not only go for the content, not only go for the reply to the show cause notice, go for the technical existence or technical legalities of that show cause notice, whether it is within the time permission type, that is time barring, whether it is issued by the right officer, whether the allegations are within the purview of the law. If yes, how the allegations are framed, because there is a standard format of show cause notice, how it is framed. If it is framed, then how it is drafted, whether the allegations are vaguely written or allegations are supported with the substantial evidences or not. All those things needs to be seen before replying to a show cause notice. I hope I'm clear till this. Although it is not my subject today, it has not been allotted to me to how to deal with show cause notice. But since the topic of show cause notice under 73, 74 is given to me, I thought it fit to cover my idea of how to read a show cause notice, because 80% cases तो सर वहीं remove हो जाते हैं. 60, 70, 80% cases तो time barring, without a jurisdiction, without the authority of law, not a proper show cause notice, a sham or a vague show cause notice, इसी पे निकल जाते हैं. And उनके पास time barring निकल जाता है तो they have no time now to issue a fresh notice. 70-80% cases we win there only. Then remains 20% cases. So now let us go into the scheme of the act. Now 73 and 74 has to be read with rule 142 precisely. Now what is 73 and 74? A brief background from the excise and service tax regime so that you can appreciate. It is not always that chartered accountants or advocates criticize the government. At times it appreciates also. So now it is a time for appreciation. आप सब मेरे साथ थोड़ा सा government को appreciate भी करें. What was the problem in the erstwhile law? In the erstwhile regime, let's say service tax. In service tax, they were issuing a show cause notice under section 73. There was a time barring which was prescribed in the law. 30 months, 5 years. These were the two situations. There was a time barring which was prescribed in the law, but that time barring was, now this is to be noted, the time barring was to issue the show cause notice. I'm repeating, to issue the show cause notice, not to adjudicate the show cause notice. There is a vast difference between a time barring for issuance of a show cause notice and adjudication of show cause notice. I hope you will appreciate. So what they were doing, because department is always issuing a show cause notice at the very last day, because of one of the principles, sir, show cause notice may, if the allegation is 50 lakhs, and then at a later point in time after issuance of show cause notice, you come to know that now the amount becomes 2 crores. You will not be able to claim that 2 crore rupees. You will have to restrict yourself to 50 lakhs. Meaning thereby something which is alleged in the show cause notice, the amount of that allegation cannot be extended in the order. So therefore they were always investigating till the last moment and issuing on the last day of the limitation. So issuance ka time tha, but there was no time of adjudication, meaning thereby even after 10 years, they can issue a hearing notice to you and adjudicate your matter. So just imagine 24% or 30% rate of interest for the period of 10 years. How we are going to survive? How we are going to survive? It will not be possible for us to survive. Any client, any registered person cannot survive. After 10 years, if he receives a notice for hearing and adjudication order, he is gone because interest burden is going to kill him. So therefore, now what they have done is they have corrected this mistake. And this is really appreciable. Now they have fixed a time limit for adjudication and the issuance of show cause notice. So what they've done is they have first framed the final outline. They have said within 3 years, within 5 years, the order should be issued, meaning thereby after 5 years, the order cannot be issued. Now 5 years is the outline, the top line आप बोलते हैं ना accounts में, it is the top line. Then they have said उसके 6 months पहले तक आप show cause दे सकते हो, meaning thereby minimum 6 months you will have to give the person to read the show cause notice, read the allegations, reply back to the show cause notice, and then you can give the hearing and adjudicate it. because a reasonable time has to be given. If you are issuing a show cause notice of 100 crores, making a lot of allegations and not giving him time, then in that case, he is not going to be able to reply back. So therefore, 6 months time has been given in 74. So this is how they have improved upon in GST, because earlier they were only saying to issue the show cause notice and then adjudication was Ram Bharose. Now they are saying it has to be adjudicated within that time limit. If it is not adjudicated, gone. So therefore now show cause notice along with the adjudication has time barring. Whereas in erstwhile regime, only the show cause notice was time barring, was within the limitation, and the adjudication was never bound with a limitation. वो 5 साल के बाद भी हो सकता है, 6 साल के बाद भी, 8 साल के बाद भी, anytime the department will say. So first they will issue a show cause notice after 5 years. After 5 years, then they will adjudicate after 10 years. It is 15 years cumulatively and 15 years का interest आपसे लेंगे. So now that issue has been resolved. This was one thing that I would wish we need to appreciate. Now let us go to section 73 and 74 one by one. Allow me. My voice is clear. Okay.
Yes, sir.
There is a comment in the chat box that voice is breaking. I think.
Absolutely clear, sir.
Okay. So, but permit me to read both these sections or to deal with both these sections simultaneously, because both these sections are same. It is determination of tax payment, determination of the tax which is not paid or short paid or erroneously refunded, or the input tax credit wrongly availed or utilized. This is the theme line. This is the theme. That means the determination of tax, which whether it is short paid, non-paid, erroneously refunded, or ITC which is wrongly availed or utilized. That is the concept of 73 and 74. One is applicable where there is no fraud, misrepresentation, or suppression. I'm repeating, there is no fraud, misstatement, or suppression of facts. If that is the case, 73 is invocable. And on the other side, when there is an involvement of fraud, suppression, or misstatement, then 74 is applicable. That is the only difference. Now, since 74 deals with fraud, the department always believes that to extract an activity which is fraudulent or which involves the suppression needs extended time. So therefore they have kept the invocation of extended time in 74 and the normal time in section 73. Now subsection 1 of section 73, it says that whenever there is a short payment, non-payment, erroneous refund, or input tax credit wrongly availed or utilized, then the departmental officer, the proper officer, will have to issue a show cause notice. And that show cause notice will have to be issued in accordance with the provisions of the law. And that show cause notice should not only ask for the recovery of this tax, but also the interest and the penalty which can be levied on that in accordance with the law. That is subsection 1 to be precise. Now, when we say show cause notice, then there is also a provision which I have already stated, that section 73 says that from the end of the due date of filing of annual return, within 3 years, the adjudication must be done. It cannot go beyond 3 years. So therefore, I was always insisting, अगर किसी ने पहले मेरे कोई videos देखे होंगे, people were very against me. I always say, and I strongly believe that never ask for extension of the dates of annual returns. In spite of that, ask for waiver of late fees for annual returns. Because the moment you will ask for extension of the due date of annual return, the department will be more than happy. Because not only you are asking for extension of due dates for annual return, they are giving you one favor undoubtedly, but at the same time, they are getting more benefited because their time barring is also getting extended. So therefore, 2017-8 annual return was 17-18. The annual return date originally was, if I'm not wrong, 31st December 2018. It got extended till 31st January 2021 or 2020. I'm not sure. So therefore, if it is 2020, let us presume. So 2020 January till 2023 January, they can adjudicate for 17-18 under section 73. And till 2025, they can adjudicate for section 74. In comparison with, had it been 31st December 2018 original date, the 31st December 2021 and 31st December 2023. So they have got almost 2 years extra for adjudication of the proceedings under section 73, 74 for 17-18, 2017-18. So subsection 2 of section 73 visa was 74. 73 says that show cause notice has to be issued at least 3 months prior to the time which is specified for issuance of an order under section 73(10), which is 3 years from the due date of annual return, filing of annual return. So therefore, at least 3 months prior, the show cause notice has to be issued. Now, please bear in mind, although we are in the electronic era, everything is expected to be issued electronically, but we have witnessed many documents, many notices are not being issued electronically. It is being sent through the physical mode. Sir, 73 May, it is written, shall be issued at least 3 months prior. They have not written, shall be served 3 months prior. Please bear in mind. So therefore, if we are receiving a physical copy, if it is electronically uploaded, then to usme time logging hoga. So there is no question. We can very well argue that it was not issued at 3 months prior, or if it is issued, then we have no argument. But if we are receiving in physical mode, it is also our duty now to check whether it was actually issued 3 months prior और उसने बैक डेट में इशू करके आपको भेज दिया फिजिकल. Then only on that ground it will go. The show cause notice will go. So again, I am saying the time limit which is specified in subsection 2 of section 73 as well as 74. 73 says it shall be issued at least 3 months prior to the time which is specified in subsection 10, which means 3 years from the due date. At least 3 months uske prior aapko de dena padega. So in my example, 31st January 2023, if it is the final date, then it has to be issued by October, 31st October 2022. By that date, the show cause notice has to be issued under section 73 for 17-18. Agar wo uske baad karta hai, then the show cause notice is invalid. So this is the time barring for issuance of a show cause notice. Further, it says that when I issue a show cause notice for an year and subsequent year also or subsequent period also has to be included. That means let us say he has issued a show cause notice for 17-18 and 18-19. Now 19-20 also is completed, 20-21 also is completed. Now today he wants to issue a notice of 19-20 and 20-21. The scheme of the law, the act permits him to issue a statement containing the calculations, provided all the allegations are same which in the show cause notice which he has already issued. So therefore, please appreciate that the parameters which has to be there in the show cause notice, that means what is the person doing, his registration number, the business, what he's doing, which is the allegation against him, on what basis those allegations are, what are the legal provisions pertaining to your contentions. This is a framework of a show cause notice which has to be there. Had it not been the requirement, why would they say that for the subsequent years or the subsequent or the consecutive periods, there is no requirement to issue a detailed show cause notice? They can merely issue a statement that shows that the original show cause notice has to be a detailed show cause notice. In many of the cases, you will find that the show cause notices are not issued in accordance with the law. They simply write that these purchases are bogus, pay this. Why I should not ask for the recovery? No, that is not the way. Let me give another example of service tax. You might have received a lot of service tax notices because of the difference in 26 AS and your ST3. All those show cause notices are to be quashed because those are without application of mind. They will say इनकम टैक्स से डेटा आया था, हमने आपके ST3 को कंपेयर किया और हमने भेज दिया शो कॉज नोटिस. No, you cannot do that. First, you need to understand what kind of business I am in. Let me give an example of Surat. Surat, where I reside, is a hub of textiles and diamonds. In both, there was no service tax, but still, in textiles there was service tax on reverse charge, that is GTA. So many of them, those persons have taken registration. Now their turnover is 100 crores and their GTA is 2 crores. So in ST3, it is 2 crores, which is being shown. In turnover, it is 100 crores. So for 98 crores, they are issuing show cause notice without application of mind. So my only saying is that cannot be done. The show cause notice has a parameters, has a framework which is given. You need to understand that. And within the framework, you can issue a show cause notice. Jagdish ji, I think you have raised hand. Give me 5-7 minutes, then we'll take up. I'll try to conclude by 5:15. Thoda bolna difficult ho raha hai, but I'll try to justify the role which is given to me, at least so far as 73 and 74 is concerned. I hope I'm making some sense discussing these practical parameters, because
Yes, sir.
these are the practical things. Otherwise, law we can very well read, we can very well understand. We all are learned enough. So statement. So there are lot of cases. Even I have argued some and won some before the Honorable Gujarat High Court and Delhi High Court and Bombay High Court, wherein the same kind of things were there. More specifically into the reversal of input tax credit, or maybe in the cancellation of registration. You will find a show cause notice with nothing mentioned. You will say, Kali wo itna bolega ki aapka supplier ka registration cancel ho gaya, to why your registration should not be cancelled? No, sir. That cannot be a show cause notice. Show cause notice needs to specify the basis on which the allegations are crafted on me. And then your contentions also, that why the show cause notice should not be accepted by the adjudicating authority. So therefore, this is my duty. This is our duty as a professional to look into not only the subsequent show cause notices, which is given in the form of a statement, but also the original show cause notice, whether that is as per the framework which is given by the department or not. अगर आपको framework देखना हो तो March 2017, there was a master circular. There was a master circular issued for this thing, service tax. You can refer that master circular. It imbibes the entire this thing, framework of this. I had written a book, Search, Seizure, Arrest and Prosecution. That was printed by CCH, but I think it is not available. I'm writing the revised book now. Maybe it will be published in 2022 or maybe in 23. But there, the entire framework we have tried to decide that, sir, आपको allegation लगाने के लिए you will have to create your base. You are only mentioning that this is the data which you have received. Sir, data मिला, उस पे आपने काम क्या किया? Only applied your mind कि दोनों में calculation करके आपने difference निकाल दिया. No, 100 minus 2 is not what the show cause notice requires for. You need to justify that this 98 crores on the basis of my investigation, on the basis of my inquiry, is pertaining to the services rendered, which are taxable under service tax. Therefore, it is a short payment of on 98 crores. Otherwise, it is not a valid show cause notice. So show cause notice has to be within framework, and then the statement of the subsequent period can be accepted only if it has the calculations. So this is subsection 3. Subsection 5. सर सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम पूरी इंडिया में सबसेक्शन 5 का है. 73.5 और 74 अभी तक जो हम पढ़ रहे हैं that is absolutely in line with 74, 73. Both are complementing each other till this. Sir, 73 में 3 months है, 74 में 6 months है. That is the only difference. वहां पे टाइम बारिंग जो सबसेक्शन 10 में वो 3 years है, 74 में 5 years है. That is the only difference. Now 73.5 or 74.5. Now departmental officers enters into, I'm sorry sir, I'm mentioning your name just for the sake of understanding. जगजीत सर के ऑफिस में डिपार्टमेंट के ऑफिसर आ जाते हैं. अब कहते हैं जगजीत सर आपने ये सर्विसेज जो दी हैं अविनाश पोदार को, who is sitting at Surat, you have not paid tax on that. Now this has to be, this is evasion of tax and therefore the tax has to be paid. Now he is very much, he is a very reputed person. He is an RCM after all. So he said कि भैया ठीक है कोई बात नहीं, आपको जो टैक्स लगता है आप ले लो. So which is that document? Which is that document which shows that voluntarily I am making the payment of tax, which was otherwise short paid, not paid, or which I have taken as a refund erroneously, or the input tax credit which I have wrongly availed or utilized. Only one document is there, which is DRC 03. And on what section it is applicable? It is 73-74 subsection 5. Department will allege, no sir, there is an allegation that you have suppressed the facts and therefore you should pay under section 74. I will say, no sir, there is no suppression. It is merely the interpretational issue. So therefore pay under 73. So 73.5 or 74.5 pertains to the willful payments or voluntary payments, which is accepted by the taxpayer. Very important to be noted, which is accepted and admitted by the taxpayer. That is 73.5 and 74.5. But department in most of the cases are forcing the taxpayer to make the payment under 74.5, admitted. Now there are judgments. One of my very celebrated judgment in GST is Bhumi Associates, wherein the Honorable Gujarat High Court has directed that during the course of search, you cannot recover any amount. And now recently they have issued a circular also, an instruction also. But that instruction somehow I would say that it is an eyewash. It is not the proper instruction. But Gujarat High Court has been very vocal and they have clearly indicated that they want that not even a single rupee should be collected during the course of search. In Bhumi Associates versus Union of India. Now, Madras High Court, I think Karnataka or Telangana High Court, they have already issued the refunds also to those taxpayers who against whom the search action was taken and the collection was done on the spot. So my submission is, or my suggestion would be that if you are bound to pay under 74.5 or 73.5, or it is the requirement of that particular situation that you are under in so much pressure, your client is under so much pressure, always pay that, no problem. Because जान तो छुड़ानी पड़ेगी, नहीं तो जाएंगे नहीं ऑफिस से, बैठ जाएंगे वहां पे और हरेस करेंगे. तो अगर आप पे भी कर देते हैं, pay under protest. Write one line in that. If let's say you are not able to write in the DRC 03, then submit a letter. Write that we have paid this, we have agreed to pay just for the sake of brevity and for buying peace of mind. Otherwise, it is under protest. So subsection 5 says in 73 that if you agree, either when instructed by the department or pointed out by the department, or on your own that there is some short payment, non-payment or erroneous refund or wrongful utilization or availment of the input tax credit, you can pay on your own along with interest. I'm repeating, along with interest. That is an intimation, and you can submit that information as an intimation, that is DRC03 to the officer. That is 73.5 and 73.6. On the contrary, in 74, you will have to pay this tax interest, जो 73 में भी था, plus 15% of the penalty. 15% of the tax amount as a penalty. Once you do that in DRC03, you need to intimate to the officer. And as soon as the officer receives that information, he will not serve any show cause notice to you, and the matter which is proceeded will be deemed to be concluded. It will deemed to be concluded. So therefore, what is in 73-74? 73 says, if we agree either on our own or after being pointed out by the departmental officer, in both the cases, ऐसा नहीं है कि मेरे खुद बताऊंगा तो ही मेरे को पेनल्टी नहीं लगेगी, डिपार्टमेंट बता रहा है तो भी पेनल्टी नहीं लगेगी अगर 73 है, if there is no fraud, misrepresentation or suppression of facts. So therefore, pay interest and the tax and get rid of the entire procedure. Then no show cause notice, nothing. Pay this, file DRC05, intimate to the officer, chapter is closed. 74 mein, only one thing is extra to be paid along with interest and tax, that is 15% of tax as a penalty. And once you are done with this, file DRC03, give the intimation to the officer, officer will accept it, chapter closed. The proceedings will be concluded. This is what is subsection 5 and subsection 6. Now again, the department, the lawmakers have tried to create a confusion. और हमारे में बोलते हैं गली निकाल दी है उन्होंने, एक गली निकाल दी है फर्दर हैरेस करने के लिए. So what they are doing is, what provision they have inserted is that after getting the intimation in DRC03, if the officer, proper officer, is not convinced and he still believes that still the amount is different, meaning thereby I have calculated on my own or by the instruction of the department that it is 1 crore rupees, 18% to be paid, 18 lakhs I have paid. Now, after intimating the payment of 18 lakhs plus interest, departmental officer, if he is of the belief that no, this amount is not 1 crore, this is 2 crores. So for the differential amount, he can continue with the proceedings and he will issue a show cause notice under subsection 1. Am I clear? That is the difference in 73 and 74. So 74 में भी अगर उसको difference लग रहा है कि difference है, then he will make you or he will issue a separate show cause notice to you for that differential amount as per subsection 7 of the section 73 or 74. So subsection 8 of 73, अब थोड़ा सा difference हो जाएगा 73 और 74 में. जो ये बताता है 73 में ये बोला है कि अब अगर टैक्स का और इंटरेस्ट का पेमेंट अगर आप कर देते हैं या तो शोकोज होने से पहले या शोकोज होने के बाद, but within 30 days, then no penalty proceedings and it will be concluded. Whereas in 74 it is going to be tax plus interest plus 25% if the show cause notice is already issued. So therefore now there are two different things. In 74, 15% of the penalty till the issuance of show cause notice, or before the issuance of show cause notice, if you are paying tax interest, then only 15% of tax to be paid as a penalty. But if the show cause notice is issued and then you agree to pay, you will have to pay within 30 days the tax, interest and 25% of the amount as a penalty. That is the only difference. Whereas in 73, even after the issuance of show cause notice, there is no penalty which is going to be imposed on you. Correct? So therefore now let us go to the determination part. This all what we have discussed is show cause notice part. Now, after giving the show cause notice, obviously he will give you an opportunity of being heard. Otherwise, if he passes an order without giving an opportunity of being heard, it becomes violative of the principles of natural justice, and therefore audi alterum partem, that becomes a very important principle. Therefore, you will have to give an opportunity of being heard. Although there is a provision under section 75, subsection 4, that you will have to specifically write when you will receive a show cause notice, it may not give you a personal hearing. You will have to specifically write under subsection 4 of section 75 that we need personal hearing. Then he will become bound to give you personal hearing. Otherwise, he can also proceed on the basis of the written submission that you have submitted. I hope I am able to make myself clear. So, अगर आपको personal hearing चाहिए, specifically show cause notice के reply में you need to mention that these are my submissions. Although submissions are already made and I am relying upon these submissions, but before adjudicating my case for this show cause notice, please provide me an opportunity of being heard, a personal hearing. That is what you can ask for as per the provisions of 75(4). अगर वो तब नहीं देता, then there are a number of judgments which says the order to be quashed and the entire proceedings to be remanded back and set aside. Now subsection 10 of 73, again, which we have already dealt with, 3 years from the due date of furnishing of annual return is the time limit within which the adjudication has to be done. Clear? And now comes, even after adjudication, let's say the show cause notice is issued under 73. I cannot pay before the show cause notice. I cannot pay, or I could not pay even after the issuance of show cause notice. But after the order now, is there any opportunity? The answer is yes. I need to pay within 30 days the tax, interest, and 10% of the amount as a penalty. That is allowed. 10% will be applicable in case of section 73. Now, subsection 11 is important. It says, notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 6 or subsection 8, penalty under subsection 9 shall be payable where any amount of self-assessed tax or amount collected as tax not being paid within 30 days from the due date of payment of such tax. So it creates a confusion, but there is a circular now which has clarified. ये पढ़ते हैं तो ऐसा लगता है it is overriding subsection 6 and 8, and subsection 9 में जो 10% penalty की बात करता है या जो भी penalty की बात कर रहा है, it is to be paid if the amount is not paid or if the amount is collected but not paid within 30 days. Now the circular is also clarified. That is not to be read is this. We can very well get rid of any kind of penalty if we are able to make the payments after the issuance of show cause notice within 30 days. There will be no penalty imposed on us under section 73. 74 may there is another difference now. The only difference, first 74 deals with 5 years. 5 years from the due date of annual return. That the difference is 3 years and 5 years. 3 years in 73 and 5 years in 74. And then the another difference is that even after the issuance of order, you are allowed to make the payment of tax, interest, and 50% of the penalty. So subsection 11 of section 74 says, where any person who is served with an order under subsection 9 pays the tax along with the interest under section 50, a penalty equivalent to 50% within 30 days of the communication of the order. Subsection 2 आप याद रखें सर, वहां पे शो कॉज नोटिस वो इशू करता था, उसके लिए केवल इशुएंस का टाइम बारिंग था. There is no time barring for serving of that. But here it says, the moment the show cause notice is communicated to you, you are also allowed. आप शो कॉज के पहले भी नहीं भर पाए 15%, शो कॉज के बाद 25% भी नहीं भर पाए, तो क्या 100% लग जाएगा? So they have given one more opportunity by virtue of subsection 11, wherein they are saying, no, still you have one more chance. What chance is there? what you can do is within 30 days of the communication of the order, now you can make the payment with 50% of the penalty. 30 दिन निकल के, then it will become 100%. So that is all about section 73 and 74. But one very important thing that I would like to touch upon at the end, then we'll open up for the question and answer. Sorry. It says when you will make the payment and intimate to the departmental officer by virtue of DRC 03, rest of the proceedings will conclude. Please bear in mind, sir, all the proceedings will conclude, but except 132. I'm repeating. All the proceedings shall conclude means everything under GST Act will be concluded except the proceeding under section 132. That means even after you're making the payments, the prosecution can be launched and it can be trialed. उसके लिए फिर आपको 138 में जाना पड़ेगा for compounding of offenses, and then you will have to go for the compounding of the same. That is one, which is mentioned in the explanation 1 to section 73. Now coming to very, very important aspect, very important, which will make each one of us fall within the purview of suppression of facts. And therefore, section 74 will be invoked. और वैसे भी आप सर देखोगे ना, 99 out of 100 show cause notices will be under section 74. They will never issue under 73. They will always say there was fraud. They will always say there was suppression, there was misrepresentation. So the term suppression is nowhere defined in the law, but in explanation 2 to section 74, it is defined, and it is defined very, very widely. It is said that the expression suppression shall mean, it is an exhaustive definition. It says, shall mean non-declaration of facts or information which a taxable person is required to declare in the return. Sir, हमसे unintentional बहुत सारी mistakes हो गई हैं return filing में. So it says information which we were supposed to declare in the return. If there is any error in the return statement, report, or any other document furnished under this act, or rules made thereunder, or failure to furnish any information on being asked for in writing by the proper officer. So therefore, suppression not only includes the intentional suppression of any liabilities, but it also includes the non-declaration of facts or a wrong declaration of information in the returns, records, or the documents which are supposed to be furnished. And not only this, it also includes non-furnishing of any information which is asked for. अगर आपसे कोई information summon से पूछी, therefore we should always honor the summon. If they've asked for any information by issuance of a summon and we fail to provide that, it will cover us under suppression definition in explanation 2 of section 74. And now their time barring will extend from 3 years to 5 years. And not only this, their time barring is one thing, but minimum penalty now there will be 15%. 15% भरे बिना तो आपका छुटका है ही नहीं. So therefore, it will be a very, very crucial aspect for us. So therefore, please bear in mind any information asked for, any documents to be furnished. We are human beings. Inadvertent mistakes are certainly going to be there, but we should try to the level possible, to the extent possible, that we should avoid making any inadvertent mistakes in the furnishing of any information or the data that we are providing to the department by way of any return, document, or report, or an statement. And any information that they ask for are regularly being provided to them within the time frame. Then only we will be out of this suppression. Otherwise, they can always frame us that there was a suppression from our side. With this, I once again thank all the 3 branches for giving me this opportunity of sharing my views. I tender my apology once again for not being good so far as my thought level is concerned. And therefore, I seek the permission of Amit ji to cut some part of this session, and he was very kind enough to grant me that time. I once again promise each one of you, and I request all the branch chairpersons and the committee members, if I'm provided another opportunity at any point in time, I'll surely love to do that, whether in virtual or in physical mode. It will be my opportunity and it will be a privilege for me. For today, I'm really, really sorry that my throat was not working well, but I've tried to deliberate on the topic which was given to me. Once again, thank you to each one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Over
sir.
to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Despite of your ill health, you took us so much time for the deliberation, and I hope that today our members have learned beyond the sections कि हम लोग जो है कि कैसे रिप्लाई देते हैं. बिल्कुल आपने सही कहा कि हम अपनी प्रैक्टिस में जो समन आता है, शो कोज आता है, हम उसके रिप्लाई के पीछे पड़ जाते हैं, हम उस पर क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर्स नहीं करते हैं. एंड दैट इज डेफिनेटली अ गुड वे टू लर्न टू हाउ टू रिप्लाई टू द डिपार्टमेंट, कि हम अपनी वर्किंग कैसे करें. और बोगस इनवॉइसिंग, फेक इनवॉइसिंग एक ऐसा सब्जेक्ट मैटर है आज की डेट में which every chartered accountant who is practicing in the indirect taxations is facing. Sir, there are few questions, some on the WhatsApp we have and some are here. Sir, it is from Bhupender Dikshit ji. Department are showing your supplier has nil inward supply, so your ITC is liable to reverse. Is there any remedy or scope of argument?
Sir, 100%. First and foremost, there is a concept of impossibility. So what my supplier is doing and what his supplier is doing, how am I concerned with that? I am concerned with, or I am having the control of only myself. I have no control on the others. So there is a judgment of DY Bethel, Madurai bench of the Madras High Court, which has very empathetically dealt with this situation, that in such situations, in spite of coming to us and asking us for reversal of the ITC, go to our supplier, take action against them. If you are unable to recover, then come to us and prove that this transaction was in connivance with each other, that supplier and I were having the connivance. हम दोनों मिले हुए थे. If you are not able to prove that, then there is no reversal of ITC. Yes, it is a long battle. The department may not accept this argument. In the appellate level, first appellate also we might have to lose, but certainly at the fact-finding tribunal forum, although tribunal is not there, but either at the tribunal or high court level, we'll certainly get a good order in our favor, provided we are genuine persons.
Sir, next question is from Sajid Sayyed. Who has the burden of proof whether invoice is fake or genuine, registered person or department?
Sir, burden of proof, दो-धारी तलवार है. The person who is being benefited has to prove. So if it is a question of imposition of tax, let's say, आप exempt में नहीं है, your supplies are not exempted, it is taxable, then the burden of proof is always on department. Or if you are claiming the exemption, then the burden of proof is on us. But so far as input tax credit is concerned, you will appreciate that there is a provision in the law. If I'm not wrong, it is 135, section 135, which deals with the auto acceptability, that whatever credit we are taking, we are assuring that this is in accordance with law, and therefore the burden of proof lies on us, not on the department. But again, I would say the Latin verb less non cogit ad impossibilia. You cannot impose on me a condition which is impossible. Anything that I could have done, I've seen his 2A, that is being reflected there. I have paid taxes to him. I have all the documents. I have all the evidences which shows that I have received the goods or the services. Then in that case, I think even after having the burden of proof on us, we'll be able to establish very well that the ITC which we have availed is genuine and in accordance with the law.
Sir, next question is from, I have on my WhatsApp from some of the member of the town. If department suo moto cancels registration of dealer, I repeat, sir, if department suo moto cancels GST registration of dealer today from retrospective with effect from 1/7/2017, how a person who has purchased material from the said dealer before today liable, how a purchase person can prove that he is a bona fide purchaser?
Very short answer. इस कलयुग में कोई भी हनुमान जी तो है नहीं कि वो अपना छाती खोल देंगे और बता देंगे कि अंदर भगवान राम और सीता रहते हैं. It's not possible. So therefore, we always need to consider Section 35 of the CGST Act, read with rules, as our protecting arm. If we maintain the books and the records and the documents as prescribed in the law in accordance with Section 35, that itself is a sufficient proof. Bona fide purchaser establishment is not our duty. Our duty is to establish the records, the documents, the evidences. The departmental duty would be to prove that my supplier and me both have connived with each other and framed this transaction to escape the tax. If they are unable to do that, on the basis of the documents maintained by us as per the provisions of the law and Section 35 read with rules, we will be able to sustain, argue, and win the case.
Right, sir. Sir, next question is, questions a person should take today so that no GST liability arises after 2 to 3 years. How can we check the records of the seller, or what tools are available with the purchaser on GST portal?
No tools are available with the recipient as of now. Neither it is available with the department. Originally, the proposition, if you will go, was the cross-checking of the invoices, verification of the invoices, because they were willing to implement GSTR 2 and 3. Now, in absence of that GSTR 2 and 3 and 1A, none of us have any method or the mode to substantiate or to prove that my supplier is genuine or I am ingenuine, whatever. So therefore, just rely on your records and documents. Just stick to your evidences. Don't go for this supplier, because you will never be able to prove the genuineness of the supplier. It is only the proof of your genuineness that you can place on record. Don't go for what your supplier is doing. If it is being reflected in 2A, that is more than sufficient for you.
So 2 more questions we have.
Please.
Can High Court grant stay on recovery of GST before issue of show cause notice by the department?
Yes, certainly. Certainly, it has been given in many of the cases. Because see, please appreciate, first you need to determine the tax liability in 73, 74. Unless you frame the charges, you cannot prosecute anyone. आप पहले किसी को जेल में डाल दो, 5 साल की सजा देके, वैसा तो होता नहीं ना. आप पहले उसके ऊपर allege करते हैं, that is show cause notice. Then it is adjudicated by the court or by the adjudicating authority that yes, it is wrong. Therefore, the tax is determined. Once the tax is determined, then there is a time limit under Section 77 of 3 months that you can proceed for the appeals. And if you are not proceeding for the appeal, 78, sorry. Then if you are not proceeding for the appeal, then in that case, the amount is finalized and then the recovery can be initiated. So then 79 can be invoked. And 79 per se, when you will read Section 79, it says amount recoverable or amount payable is the word. So when does it make the amount as a payable amount? Only when it is determined by the department. Otherwise, it will be only a provisional attachment that can be done. So therefore, no recovery can ever take place without the proper determination or proper adjudication. And that too after lapsing of the time limit for filing appeal under 107. So therefore, there are many cases, many of mine cases also where the recovery is totally stopped, totally stayed by the department in case of the illegal actions or without authority actions of the department.
Sir, one question is again from Syed Saab. What is the validity of 2A, 2B? Can you
Absolutely no validity as per my understanding, because that is only a measure of facilitation. Even the department has agreed it, if I'm not wrong, 18th October 2018, which was challenged by us in AP and Company, wherein the Honorable Court said that 3B is not a return. 18th October 2018, they have issued a press release. They themselves have said that you cannot rely on 2A and 2B. 2B was not there. 2A, because it is not having any, it is merely a trade facilitation measure. And then the Honorable Supreme Court in Bharti Airtel Limited, read that judgment, Bharti Airtel Limited. Again, it is said that 2A is merely a facilitation. It is to help you. You cannot depend on that. You will have to depend on your books of accounts. So therefore, 2A and 2B, as per my understanding, is not that relevant. Your books of accounts maintained as per section 35 and the other accounting standards is what is relevant, not 2A and 2B. It is only a trade facilitation measure.
So one question is from Ramesh Wadhwa. Can proper officer suo moto debit the electronic credit ledger or electronic cash ledger to recover the demand?
Can you please repeat the question?
Sir, can proper officer suo moto debit the electronic credit ledger or electronic cash ledger to recover the demand?
Absolutely no.
Rule 86.
Absolutely no. Rule 86.
I think so 86 में जाके हो जाएगा.
नहीं, तो 86 में he can provisionally block it.
Block the credit.
Blockage of credit. He cannot recover. See, recovery and attachment, these two are different things. I can attach that there is a balance of 1 crore in your bank account or in your credit account. You cannot use it. That is blockage or attachment. But I take away that amount, make it zero and recover the entire 1 crore. That is not permissible. For that, he will have to invoke the powers under section 79. And for that, the adjudication is important. And that appeal denial is important. Otherwise, that cannot be done. There is one comment of a participant, I think Vijay Kumarji. He is saying that there is a facility to view supplier's details, that I can go to the GST site and see whether the supplier has filed return or not. Yes, certainly there. And I really appreciate and thanks for that. But my humble submission would be merely showing that he has filed the returns is anyways reflected in my 2A. Because unless he has filed GSTR1, it will not be reflected in 2A. But that 3B being shown that it has been filed makes no sense. Reason being, I've come across the cases wherein in GSTR1, my invoice was shown, he has shown 1 crore rupees as the liability in GSTR1. But in GSTR3B, he is only shown 1 lakh rupees as the liability. So there is a difference of 99 lakhs, where how to argue and how to substantiate that in my invoice, because my invoice says 5 lakh rupees as a credit. So total he has paid 1 lakh rupees. So how it will be? So merely because 3B is filed, there is no matching of the invoice, and therefore you cannot say that you become eligible for credit. So all those cases will help us. This is one wherein only his filing of return cannot be the reason of being happy. So this is what I strongly believe, that he might have filed, but we need to have a mechanism, an auto-built mechanism wherein it will be said that this invoice on which I am availing the credit, the tax has been paid on this invoice, which is missing because GST 2, 3, it has not been implemented. That is the only thing that I would like to say. And then there is a concept which they might come out very in the future, that is credit rating. Maybe from that credit rating, we'll get to know that our supplier, what credit rating he has. But that is again a long ask from the department. It will take some time. Yes.
Sir, one query I have regarding कि अगर हमारा किसी केस में जैसे डिस्कस किया था कि डिपार्टमेंट जो है किसी भी सप्लायर का हमारे जीएसटी नंबर बैकडेट से कैंसिल कर देता है रेट्रोस्पेक्टिवली, और हमारे पास जो है उसके नॉन एग्जिस्टेंट के कारण या बोगस के कारण जो है हमारे ऊपर जो है इंस्पेक्शन होके डिमांड रेज कर देता है। इन दैट केस, जिससे मैंने सप्लायर से गुड्स परचेज करा है, ही हैव जस्ट मूव टू द अपील रिगार्डिंग द रिवोकेशन ऑफ हिज जीएसटी नंबर, और उसका नंबर रिवोकेट हो जाता है बाय चांस, तो क्या उस केस में जो लायबिलिटी डिपार्टमेंट ने मेरे ऊपर लगाई है, विल इट बी सीज्ड और नॉट?
See, obviously, if the allegation is only that your supplier is non-existent and therefore आपका credit गलत है, तो certainly you can very well argue that he has already filed an appeal. That means he is an existent. What does non-existence mean? Non-existent mean a person who was never there. A person who is still there, who is filing an appeal, that means he is an existent person. So non-existent to Rani. So as soon as the person becomes existent, the allegation goes off. As soon as the allegation goes off, your case is no case now. जो डिपार्टमेंट ने आपके अगेंस्ट में केस बनाया था वो खत्म हो जाएगा. Plus DY Bitter is going to help you now. Rely on that DY.
One question, Jagjit sir has raised his hand, so he is having. I will request him to take his question.
Yes, sir. So first of all, Avinash, thank you very much for your wonderful session. My previous query was related to subsection 5 of 73 and 74, which you have already explained. And now the last query from my side, actually, in case of one SSC, actually, he has received a call or an information from the department that last year you have received one order, and that order was in your favor, in the favor of SSC. But after 1 year, the department has cross-checked the DIN of that order, and they found that DIN is not correct. So now there is a demand of rupees, such and such rupees. So now the SSC has to pay. So what are the remedies available to that SSC in this case?
Sir, first and foremost, the DIN is never to be it is the prerogative of the department. Now, whether that DIN is valid or invalid, it is not a duty casted on me to check the validity of the DIN.
Right.
I can only very well check whether the order is correctly received by me or not. And there can be two modes of receipt of the order. Either it can be uploaded on the portal by the department. If that is the case, then again, there is no question of the validity of the DIN or not. I am not bound. Second, if it is physically received, then again, it will have a stamp and everything. So again, if it is a valid order, having a wrong DIN and in my favor, then absolutely there is no question of any payment of demand. There cannot be any question. So you can very well, what we can do is, if now you are receiving a call, you can ask the officer to write back to you in a black and white that what is that he wants from us. Because you have a favorable order. You say, I have a favorable order. What I have to do with your DIN? I'm not there to check the DIN. But still, whatever you want, you put that in writing and send it back to me. So obviously, he will not be in a position to send it back. Because he will not say कि मैंने जो issue order किया था उसमें गलत DIN लिख दिया था, ये वो order गलत है. उसकी
Definitely.
And plus revision, there is a provision of rectification also in the law 161. वो rectification करने के लिए भी time limit है. That time limit also has expired. So I don't think he will be able to do that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, one question we have. Tax shortfall was paid via DRC 03 and was intimated to the officer. However, it's been 5 months. The amount is still in the electronic cash ledger. Is the procedure complete?
See, first and foremost, I'm not the compliance person, so I don't know how to comply in the portal. I've never logged in into the GST system. So that is my limitation. But see, once you issue DRC 03, so DRC 03 is nothing but appropriation of the balance in the electronic cash ledger. So what is the process as per my understanding? I have to pay, let's say 10 lakh rupees. I'll deposit that 10 lakh rupees in my electronic cash ledger. And then I will go for in the portal, select DRC 03, and then I'll appropriate that 10 lakhs in DRC 03. So therefore, if DRC03 is rightly issued by you, automatically the electronic cash ledger is going to go away. Even otherwise, let us believe that electronic cash ledger balance is already there, but DRC03 is generated. Maybe there is a system error. But now since you have already paid, let the electronic cash balance be there, because that is not a balance now. There can be a technical error or a system error or whatsoever. But since DRC03 is generated, you use that DRC03, the genuinely legally generated DRC03 for all your compliance purposes. And the amount which was to be debited from the electronic cash ledger, if not debited, don't use that amount in future to show your bona fide, because then it will prove that there is a system error and you had no intention to evade. So therefore the interest burden will not fall on you. That I have already deposited cash. After depositing the cash, I have generated DRC03. Now, even after generating DRC03, the amount is not reduced. What I can do, I am not a mala fide intentional person, so therefore I have never utilized that amount. वो वहीं का वहीं पड़ा है. अगर आप ये establish कर देंगे, don't worry. I think there will be no problem.
So with your permission, मैं इसके query add करना चाहूँगा. What I get from this query is that tax shortfall was paid via DRC03 and was intimated to the officer. However, it's been 5 months, the amount is still in the electronic cash ledger. So what I get from this query is that my actual liability was to pay rupees 10 lakh and I have paid 8 lakh rupees via DRC03 and 2 lakh rupees is still pending in the cash ledger. It has been generated DRC03. What I believe is that query, I don't know who has asked, but it should be here generate again new DRC03 and deposit the balance amount.
No.
Then the procedure will be completed because not the DRC03.
I think this query was not related to this kind. I think according to your example, they deposited the 10 lakh rupees and they filed the DRC03 for 10 lakh rupees. But the electronic ledger still showing the balance of 10 lakh rupees on the portal.
Exactly. That is what I have indicated.
Sir, it is saying tax shortfall was paid via DRC03.
Sure, agree. If any tax fall, if there is a shortfall in tax, we have to deposit through DRC03, na?
Rinalji, let me give one example.
Right, sir.
You have filed DRC, that GSTR 3B. You have shown, in your example, you have shown, let's say 2 lakh rupees. Whereas actually it was 10 lakhs. So now there is, what the option you have? Either you pay this 8 lakhs rupees balance in next 3B. Then in that case, you are very well equipped or very well expecting to be a show cause notice to be received by you or a notice to be received by you. Other option is to go voluntarily and pay, because the section says voluntarily you can make the payment and intimate the officer no show cause notice. So then what you can do is next month, as soon as you come to know that 8 lakhs मैंने short भरे हैं, you go to the portal, deposit 8 lakh rupees in electronic cash ledger, generate DRC03 of 8 lakh rupees, intimate to the officer. अब ये जो क्वेश्चन है मेरे ख्याल से ये है कि वो जो 8 लाख रुपए मैंने डिपॉजिट किया वो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कैश लेजर में एज इट इज पड़े, अभी भी कम नहीं हुआ, तो वो सिस्टम एरर है. इफ DRC03 इज जनरेटेड, तो मेरा सबमिशन ये है, इवन आफ्टर दैट 8 लाख आपके पास पड़े हैं तो आप लालच में मत आए, किसी दूसरे के पैसे पड़े हैं वो आप उसको यूज ना करें. तो अगर आप यूज नहीं करोगे तो 2 साल 6 साल के बाद भी अगर गवर्नमेंट आएगी तो इंटरेस्ट आपसे नहीं ले सकती, पेनल्टी आपसे नहीं ले सकती.
But they need to keep the copy as well as the screenshots.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
In kind errors is also coming in quarterly returns. Where we choose a quarterly 3B in composite there is also a problem you after filing your return still the balance is showing in cash ledger from last I think 1 year.
That is the issue, no, sir. That is system error.
Yes.
Avinash sir will take this case to Gujarat High Court and complete it.
There is another case which we are filing, which is pertaining to composition dealer. अभी कुछ recently आया है. Even my team was briefing me. I was not able to understand, but they were briefing कि composition में कुछ पैसा भर दिया है. Still वो recovery दिखा रहा है. And now they have issued an advisory wherein they are saying pay it again and take refund. अरे why should I pay it again and take refund? So that is a case which we have received and my team is working on that.
This
Probably,
thing is happening, sir, right now.
हाँ, so in पंजाब एंड हरियाणा हाई कोर्ट में भी मैंने ऐसे 2-3 मैटर्स अभी फाइल करने के लिए दिए हैं. Probably that will be filed and I'll come to argue. But let's see.
Sir, one more question. Yes, sir, one more question we have. During the course of a departmental audit, ITC through DRC 03, but not to audit against the same. Is it possible audit is not concluded yet? Please guide.
See, once you accept or admit and pay through DRC 03, now you have two options available. One option is intimate, get the issue concluded. So during the course of audit, it was pointed out, pay through DRC 03 under section 73, get it closed. Now for filing an appeal, you will have to get an order. For getting an order, you will have to have a show cause notice. So if you are making the payment, getting the thing concluded, then you might not be receiving any show cause notice, no order, and therefore no appeal. So obviously, अगर आपने 73(5) का शेल्टर ले लिया, तो आपके पास ऑर्डर शो कॉज नहीं आएगा, तो ऑर्डर नहीं आएगा, ऑर्डर नहीं आएगा, तो आप अपील पे जा ही नहीं सकते. So therefore, either of the options are available to you. और तभी आप 106 पढ़ेंगे, 107 में subsection 6 देखेंगे, तो it says कि when you are filing an appeal, there is a concept of pre-deposit. Whatever you admit, pay 100%, and whatever you not admit, pay 10% as a pre-deposit. So that is the concept why they have written it, because even if you get an order and you agree to pay, so within 30 days you can make the payment of 25%, or in case of 73, no penalty even after the order if you are paying within 30 days. So if you are able to pay the payment within 30 days, then obviously this is the admitted amount which you have paid, then you can file an appeal also. तो आप शोकोज ले, अगर आपको अपील में जाना है तो आप शोकोज ले लीजिए, ऑर्डर ले लीजिए, उसके 30 दिन में पैसा भर दीजिए, तो आपकी पेनल्टी बच जाएगी, और फिर आप अपील भी फाइल कर लिए, ताकि अगर आप जीत जाते हैं तो रिफंड मिल जाए.
Sir, I think so we are done with the queries now. Now I will request our worthy NIRC member, CA Jagjit Singh ji, to kindly have words of wisdom on the today's lecture. Over to you, Jack sir.
Thank you, Mrindal bhai. So it's again, it's an honor for us, for all of us. We are listening. We have listened already to Avinash Poddar sir. He's a very great personality, a great person, a very down-to-earth person, very knowledgeable person. I've heard so many times. I've listened, I've heard from the senior teacher. So जो इंसान के पास knowledge होती है वो हमेशा झुका हुआ होता है. So our Poddar sir is just like that tree. When having a fruits, when having a flowers, the झुका हुआ जो tree होता है, जो knowledgeable person होता है, always down to earth. I have heard so many teachers. So from all of them, we have some, the great personality like Avinash Poddar sir. So it's an honor for all of us, sir, Poddar sir. With your presence. Yes, sir.
Can I interfere? Can I interfere for one moment?
Please, sir. Please, sir. Please, sir.
My experience is a down-to-earth person with very high ego. So what differentiate करना बहुत जरूरी है, sir. Because down-to-earth
Right, sir.
with ego is as bad as anything else.
नहीं वही सर कहते हैं ना, उसमें कहते हैं कि positivity as well as the negativity, both are equally important. So when you have something, you must have some negativity. I would not say it's a negativity. I would say it's a like a unique quality. So with the help of that quality, you can, we can understand everything in a proper manner. So such kind of personality you are actually. So a very knowledgeable person. So I hope के जितने भी हमारे participant थे, members थे, हमारे respected member, and of course all the three branches, they have done an excellent job, and they are doing so on. The program is so on. So obviously we have tomorrow, we have another day after tomorrow, we have another program. So it's a wonderful efforts by all the three branches. So hats off to them for their working, for their efforts. And of course, Poddar sir, and the last time जब आपको मिला, जैसे आपने mention किया था, तो पहली वो जो personality, वो जो first impression होता है, so that is the last impression I would say. कि वो वाकई सर वो जो सोचा था मैंने, जो ऑब्जर्व किया था, even you are not, I would not say up to that level, you are beyond that, sir. a very knowledgeable person, and you have mentioned each and every section in a proper manner. You have explained everything in a proper manner so that each and every person or the participant can understand in a right manner. So once again, so thanks a lot on behalf of all the participants, on behalf of all the, the three branches. So your presence, your valuable time, which you have given to all of us, sir. Over to Minal, sir.
Thank you, Jack, sir. Now I request CA Amit Kumar ji, Chairman, Sonepat branch, for his vote of thanks. Over to you, Amit.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Minalji, for coordinating today VCM. First of all, we owe special vote of thanks to Avinash sir for accepting our invitation and giving such a wonderful deliberation and enlightening on today's topic of fake invoices and section 73 and 73 provisions and questions of all the members in very simple language, even in spite of having throat problem. You are driving so well. And we all of us are very thankful to other committee members and every viewer of across the India for joining today VCM and their knowledge. It is always an honor and pleasure to listen to Avinash sir. I would like to give my gratitude to Amritsar and Yamunanagar branches for joining us. We are all eager to join all of you for third day of VCM on topic of offensive and penalty under GST by CA Arpit Aldia ji tomorrow. Thank you for joining. Namaskar, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
sir. Thank you.
Thank you all
everyone.
for joining this
Thank you, sir.
VCM. I once again, as a program coordinator, really thanks Avinash Poddar sir for being such a keynote speaker, Jack sir for gracing this VCM, and all the three dynamic chairmen, CA Amit Kumar ji, Chair Sonepat branch, CA Sumit Jetli ji, Amritsar branch, and CA Anuj ji for togetherly hosting this wonderful deliberation of 4 days VCM on GST. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Vishal,
sir.
for wonderful. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.